That was the trailer for the new film called American Fiction, a movie I went to see by myself. I thought it was important to see it by myself because of the cast of characters from John Ortiz to Tracy Ellis Ross to Eric Alexander, Leslie Uggams, to our guest who is here with us today. DB, I'm going to let you do the honors.
Thank you. I remember my mom took me to go see Shaft, and this was the first time I got to witness the talent of this guest that we have with us today as Peoples. Then he went on to do so much incredible work. I mean, from Basquiat, Hunger Games, Felix Leiter in the 007 franchise, and I even loved you in Game Night. I'm friends with Lamorne, and I texted him that scene when you said, "Shut up, everybody!" Like that shit had me cracking up. But we're here to talk about this new film with an incredible cast, and whether you went to go see it in the theater or if you were lucky enough to have an advanced physical copy like myself. And I'm also a Critics' Choice member, so I was happy to see that it got nominated for quite a few of those awards. But now we're here to talk about the awards it's nominated for 5 Oscars: Best Original Score, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Supporting Actor, Best Picture, and the Best Actor nomination. The guy we have with us right now, Jeffrey Wright.
Jeffrey Wright is in the building!
In the building!
Jeffrey was scared when I screamed his name.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be back here.
Oh, it's good to have you, man. Congratulations.
Yes.
Sterling K. Brown, he's been on this show before.
Yeah. Yep.
Issa Rae has been on this show. Adam Brody has been on this show. Keith David, Leslie Uggams has been on this show.
Crazy cast.
This cast is like the 92 Dream Team or something, bro.
Yeah, Murderers Row.
Yeah, right? Now, when you got so many great people, is it pressure to have a great response, or is it just about the work?
No, it's no pressure.
Okay.
It makes it easier.
Okay.
Because you have people there who are going to bring it. And everybody gathered around this film because they wanted to tell this story. They thought this story was timely, important, was hitting on things that need to be said, are being said in the country now, and everybody just came with passion. And, you know, it sounds cliche, you hear it all the time, but we brought a lot of love to this thing, you know. We're a little movie, you know. We shot this in 26 days.
Wow.
You know, we didn't have a lot of resources, but we brought a lot of ourselves to this story.
Can you break down for the audience what the story is about, and then I want to know how did that relate to your own personal career?
Well, the story is really about a man. He's a writer. He's a professor. He wants to write from a place of personal authenticity and emotional and intellectual freedom. He wants to write about the things he wants to write about.
Yeah.
But those things aren't necessarily received. He's not really the most successful writer that is on the scene. So he decides, out of frustration, to write a novel that he thinks is for the masses, a black novel, because he's told what he's writing is not interesting and it's not black enough.
Not black enough.
So he decides to write, an urban novel as a joke under the name Staggar Lee. To show the hypocrisy of the publishing industry and the hypocrisy of the ways that he's perceived. Turns out this book blows up. It's his best-selling novel, and he has to lead this dual life as himself and as this character that he's created. Meanwhile, his family is falling apart. His mother's ailing. His father has died at the beginning of the movie, and that's really his life. And for me, that's where the film lies. The satire, the social commentary is cool, but for me, it's a story about a man and his relationship to his family, to love, and to his mother. That's where the heart is. That's what really pulled me into this story.
That's what pulled you in.
Yeah.
Well, Jeffrey Wright, man. Working with Cord Jefferson, this is directorial debut. Talented writer. I've done my research. I'm familiar with a lot of the things he's done. What was that experience like working with him?
Oh, it was fantastic because Cord wrote this script based on a novel called Erasure by Percival Everett. So he read that book and he said it seemed like it was a book that was written for him specifically. And Percival said the other night, he said, "I don't write autobiographies, but there's a lot of me in this character." And when I read the script, I felt the same thing. I felt that there was things that were happening in my life as I read the script that were directly portrayed in that script, and it just hooked me. And so there was a lot of overlap for all of us, for Cord, for Percival, for myself. And so when we got together to work, it was like, let's tell this story. Let's tell our story. let's tell the story of a man who is really just trying to be himself. And that's, again, why I think the family portrait is so important, because in the midst of all the absurdity and the stupidity of the life that he's has to pretend to lead, really it's the ordinary humanness that you see on screen that is the answer to all that. How do we want to be seen? We want to be seen as completely human. And that's what that part of the film is about for me. So working with Cord was just, first time director, it didn't matter to me, because what was on the page was so clear, was so funny, was so sharp, was so fluent. And it told me that he was a great communicator, which is what you need to be a director. And he was a great leader, because he got this film made just purely on his energy and his vision. Because nobody wanted to make this film except for one group, and that was Orion Pictures. There was some backers at a company called MRC in T Street. And Orion Pictures, a woman named Alana Mayo, black woman, said this movie should be made. There's an audience for this movie. And then Amazon MGM came on, and they've given us the support that I've never experienced before.
Your career?
In my career. Wow. For a film that I was so central to. They have been so energized and so put so many resources and time and energy behind us to get this out and to get it seen. It's been incredible. But that goes to speak to Cord's leadership as well, and that's what he did on set.
Cord, I read in an Esquire interview, he said, all I want is for people to go see this with their friends and debate.
Yeah.
What does he mean by it? What do you think he meant? How did you interpret that?
Well, I think, the opening scene is a scene about language, history, race. There's a book called The Artificial Nigger, written by Flannery O'Connor, who's a white writer of the South. And we have a debate in the classroom with this student, young white girl says, I don't want to, that making me uncomfortable. Well, okay. And it begins from there. It's a conversation that's being had in the country right now everywhere. In classrooms everywhere, in the political space everywhere, in barbershops. We're having these conversations about identity, about what it means to be ourselves, whether we're black or otherwise, and we're having conversations about how we exist in this country together around race, which we've always had, but it's intensified lately. So, that's at the heart of this thing. That's the heart of this film. And so, it's a ripe conversation. What was your question again, though, specifically? You were asking
about what he said. He wanted people to debate.
Oh, yes, yes.
The friends and family to come and have these conversations at home, right?
And come and have this conversation with friends or people who are not your friends, or people from across backgrounds, because we're all thinking about it. It informs all of us every day, but we don't have these conversations well. Generally as a collective. Yeah. Some of us are afraid of the conversation in America. Some of us are traumatized by the conversation that we have around race and our history. But we have to have the conversation because we're talking about it to ourselves every day. Let's have the conversation. Let's have it better. And maybe we can make a little progress.
We can make some progress. Yeah. Jeffrey Wright is here, man. Come on, HB. I know you want to get up on there. Go ahead.
You were talking about careers and all the guests that, as Sway mentioned, have been here before. But if you can, I love the fact that Erica Alexander is out. Like, I know she's always working and doing things behind the scene, but it's beautiful to see her associated with this film. I've loved her and introduced to her through Living Single, like so many of us. Can you speak about her and working with her? Because I was just delighted that she's a part of this and seeing her out and about again.
Well, Erica is so fierce and so smart and so on it. She brought so much credibility to this character because of who she is. The character is a love interest of Monk. They meet. She's a lawyer. She's got her shit together. And he doesn't necessarily have his shit together.
Right.
and she checks him. She's like Issa Rae's character as well, who brought incredible credibility to this writer that has frustrated Monk and has caused him to write this novel out of anger. She too checks him. So she is Erica, Issa brought such strength that was necessary, because one of the things we wanted to make clear was that this was not like a celebration of the black bourgeoisie, that this wasn't some talented 10th thing, but that Monk, my character, was flawed, and that he's not the same person at the end of the movie that he is at the beginning. And maybe some of his criticisms are his own, but maybe, maybe there's some flaws in those. Erica checks him. Coraline, her character, Issa checks him. And there's a transformation that he experiences over the course of the film that is brought on by the self-reflection that those experiences with those women have. So having Erica there was, again, you say when you bring these strong performers, these strong artists together, does it add pressure?
Yeah.
No.
It doesn't, huh?
No, it makes my job easier because they're giving me so much to play off of, and it really just helps elevate, my work and make me, stay on my game.
Make you look good, Jeffrey.
And all boats rise. The whole film benefits by their presence. So. Yeah, so glad she was there.
Yeah, amen.
Okay, man. Jeffrey Wright is here, 888-742-3345. We're going to take a few more of your questions. We got Isaiah on the line from Ohio.
What's up, Isaiah?
Zay, what up?
Zay.
Zay.
Hey, how's it going?
Great.
Going good.
What's your question, man?
Okay, so my name is Isaiah Williams. I'm a up-and-coming artist. You can find me on Instagram as House of Zay Art. But my question is, when you have an idea that's just so big, that's bigger than you, than anything that you've ever done, where do you get started? Because I've been wanting to get into film for a long time, and I've had this idea since I was a kid. But like, where do I start? Because it's the film industry is huge. I'm from Davenport, Iowa, by the way. I'm sorry, not Ohio.
Okay, my bad.
What's the idea that's bigger than you? Just being in film?
Well, I've had this story, and when you have something that's just, you can see it clearly in your head, and you just, how do you start with something like that, something so big that's in your head, but you just have to get it out?
I think if you're talking about writing, you just, pick up the pen or pick up the computer, open the computer and start typing.
Yes, sir.
There you go. Great answer, man. Hey, that's why you got Sirius XM, Isaiah.
Hey,
Just start.
Keep it simple, keep it moving.
Keep it simple, keep it moving. Sometimes we get in our own way, though.
Hello.
Sincerely.
But I was going to
All
ask
the time.
Jeffrey, maybe to Isaiah's point, being in a place like Iowa, is it harder? Would you imagine to get, maybe he feels like he needs an agent or someone to represent him? Is it harder being in middle America like that?
You start where you start. I didn't start acting until I was in college. My first play was a student production. It was an adaptation of Wallace Terry's book Bloods, a novel about the experiences of African Americans who had been in the Vietnam War, right? We did that in a black box theater behind a snack bar in school, That's where it started. That was my first role. Everything that I've done leads from there. Everything. So you start where you start. You take one step at a time, and the opportunity will come to you as your work demands it. So you just do the work. That's all. That's what I always understood. If I do the work, everything else will flow from that. When I got back to D.C. after college, I was doing children's theater. That was my first gig.
Wow.
Going around to schools in D.C. and Montgomery County, telling folk tales, playing John Henry, Hiawatha, runaway slave.
In costume?
With, yeah. I mean, we were like the Looney Tunes. It's for elementary school kids. That's where I started.
Wow.
And that was my first gig. And everything flows after, you just put the work in.
Yeah.
Just grind wherever you can grind, and the benefits will come. If you're good, If you're not good, hey, maybe you should be doing something else. If you heard that and you said maybe this isn't for me, then you probably should be doing something else. But if you have it and you work at it, then everything will flow from there.
Isaiah, can't get better than that, brother. Go get him, okay, Isaiah?
I appreciate y'all. Follow me on Instagram when you get a chance.
Okay, what is it again?
House of Zay Art, and I'm on Facebook as Zay Williams. That's where all my visual artwork is.
My man.
I'm wanting to branch out and
Okay,
do.
I'm going to get back to my interview, brother. Thank you, man. God bless you. You're a citizen.
Sorry.
Man. All right, thank you.
He got excited, Sway.
I saw you say I gave him arm. He took the leg, the foot, everything, right? Lee is in Charlotte. Go ahead, Lee. You have a question for Jeffrey.
Hey, Lee.
Good morning. First time caller.
We got a first-time caller,
what's
Tori.
up, Lee?
They get the celebration when they're first-time caller.
Cool.
So not really a question for Mr. Wright, but just a comment. I saw the movie on Friday, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It really spoke to me. I'm an avid reader, and I often say that some of the books that are produced are, I'll just say, not something that I would want to read. I thought the movie was very well done. I really, really enjoyed it. I've followed your career and just really enjoy you as an actor.
Well, thank you.
Nice.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Wow, man, that's a good call,
That's
Lee.
beautiful.
Thank you, Lee. We appreciate you. It was short and quick.
We like those calls.
Yeah, you a citizen, Lee.
I Sway the more than they live, so you never know what you're going to get,
Thank
Jeffrey.
you guys. You guys do a great job. You do a great job by uplifting and making others feel good. It's just really good to, experience what I want to say. It's experience just uplifting for us and our people to keep us moving forward and keep us moving in the right direction. So really, really appreciate everyone's energy on the show.
It's amazing.
Oh,
Cool.
thank you.
Thank you, Lee. We appreciate that. That gives us confirmation. Okay, thank you for supporting us. You're a super citizen.
That's Sway in the morning.
Tracy G, we got Jeffrey Wright here.
Yes, we do, and I'm thoroughly enjoying your presence, Jeffrey.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. I'm from the school of thought that everything is used. Nothing goes wasted. Even if it doesn't make sense in the moment, later in life, in hindsight, you'd be like, ooh, that was the missing piece to this puzzle. When you were talking about your origins and how you got started, right? And even though it may have been in like a chaotic, unideal situation, that was the beginning point and you moved forward. I had read that you had gotten your bachelor's degree in political science and had considered law school. And of course, you followed your heart and you went into acting. Can you see how anything from political science has been of benefit to you as an actor?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I wouldn't say it was a chaotic, less than ideal start. It was the perfect start for me. Perfect. Yeah, I mean, politics, particularly now, politics is showbiz.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of theater, a lot of acting, a lot of performance. So I grew up in Washington, D.C. My mother was a lawyer. So I was surrounded by, she worked for the government and politics. That was my interest. That's when you're from D.C., that's what you do. No matter where you are. You can be, dude on the corner, the guy, the lawyer, or the guy at the liquor store. Everybody has a political opinion in D.C.
Facts.
and it's usually smart. So, but when I started acting, what I was able to find was ways to tell stories and stories to tell that blended my interest in the creative, but also in the political. I tend to look at everything and see politics as But for example, the first thing that I did, which was this retelling of this novel about black folks returning from Vietnam. It was like deeply, it was politically poignant. It was for obvious reasons. So later on, I did, Angels in America on Broadway. Again, I was able to blend those political interests with the creative interests. So it's only, it really hasn't, it's helped me, absolutely. And I think if you want to be an artist, I think one of the problems that we can run into is that we don't have as broad an understanding of things outside of our art and ourselves, and we get kind of consumed with, our ego and all of that stuff, and we have opinions, but we don't necessarily have the information to really validate those opinions and give them strength.
That's good.
You know, so my advice to people who want to do this, study anything except, acting. Study sociology, study anthropology, study history. Why? So you know what you're talking about.
Wow.
Jeffrey Wright.
Thank you.
Mike Muse.
Hey, Jeffrey. Congratulations on delivering an incredible performance. It is my favorite performance of the season.
Oh, thank you.
And so the question I have for you is, my favorite scene that really captures, I think, your performance is in the restaurant when you're meeting with the publisher. And so I'm just curious, how did Jeffrey Wright prepare to play Monk in that moment? Because I thought that was the most complex moment of the film.
Oh, that's funny. So that's me meeting Adam Brody's character, who's the producer.
Oh, the producer.
Who's gonna wants to take this idea and put it on the big screen. There was a very specific reference for me. It's the first time in the film that we see Monk playing this character, Stag Ali, in public. The other times he's been on the phone having these conversations with these publishers. And so that was cool because the voice is saying one thing, his eyes and his body are saying another. So he's making a comment on having to play to their expectations of him. It was fun, a fun duality within the duality for me. That scene, though, when he steps out in public, there was one reference for me at the start. That was Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor in Silver Street.
Yeah.
When they're in the bathroom in the train station, fugitive at the end of the movie, and
Color in the face,
and he put the blackening
shoe
up
polish.
his face with the shoe polish, ace deuce, and Pryor is coaching him on, come on, brother, how you gonna be black, get the but on the whole thing, in that moment where I stepped into that space, that was the reference. Although it's very toned down.
You did it perfectly.
It's just, but that's exactly where I was thinking. Very, rarely do I have a specific reference, particularly to another film, but it was, go to the source,
Yeah. You gave up a secret right there. Right. Jeffrey Wright gave up a gem. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
But that's also a type of humor that, people are scared to tell now.
Yeah.
You can't tell. You can't. But it's Pryor.
Yeah.
It's Pryor and Wilder.
Yeah.
Little homage to them because, that was a different time. Yeah. But they were onto something.
They were onto something. Man, DB, I'm gonna let you get the last question in.
Thank you. The fact that Monk's mom has Alzheimer's, I won't give away too much, but I'm dealing with that in some regards. So it's whenever I see something like that, a situation like that on screen, it kind of it hits home. Not saying I don't want to watch it, but it is a little tough because it instantly puts me, back in that mindset of dealing with a situation like that. Has there ever been a situation where you were doing a scene and let's say another actor was portraying, somebody with an ailment or disability, whatever it is, and maybe it hit home for you and you maybe got caught up in the moment while doing the scene?
Well, the good thing about what we do is that as actors is that we have an opportunity, or as artists generally, we have an opportunity to take those things that may have been difficult for us and try to make some sense out of them at least, and maybe create something beautiful out of that, and ideally, provide a little relief or comfort or at least validation for someone who takes that in. In this instance, my mother passed away about a little over a year before I got this script. Went very quickly. She died of cancer. But I played caretaker to her in that last phase. I had the good fortune to be raised by my mother and her eldest sister, my aunt, who's now 94 years old, who came to live with us in New York. So I spent many months cursing out various insurance company representatives and clinicians and all of that. And, it was the pressures that come along with that, as well as I have kids, were pretty heavy. You think when you're younger that life gets easier as you get older, and then it's like, no. So that's what interested me in telling this story, was that relationship to the mother. My son saw the movie. He said, there's a lot of he said, I saw a lot of myself in that character in terms of this external, like, misunderstanding. He said, and also it's a beautiful homage to grandma.
Yeah.
He said. So that for me, again, when I went back, going back to talking about the importance of this family, that for me really was the core of it. And I hope that people will see it, and people have said, I'm dealing with the same thing. I'm caretaker to my father. My mother has Alzheimer's. So many people have come and found some, some comfort in that, or at least some connection to that, as you have, even though it may be difficult. So that's a universal thing. We all, have experienced. Many of us have experienced that. Having to play caretaker, having to be the adult in the room of our family, and many of us will, and that's regardless of background.
Yeah,
that's anyone who's born of a family.
Anyone born.
and that's what I love about our film is that it has that open invitation. It's welcoming in that way to people, who may not think they'll find a home in there, but will. And they come in and, have a laugh. We don't take ourselves too seriously. Come in, feel these things, talk about these things, and enjoy the ride as you do it.
Jeffrey Wright, man. Can I ask your mom's name?
My mother's name was Barbara.
Barbara?
Barbara Whiting Wright.
Barbara Whiting Wright. Barbara Whiting Wright. Barbara Whiting Wright.
Oh,
we signify. We say those names 3 times, brother.
Thank you, man.
Absolutely. Thank you, man. Thank you for coming today, brother. Thank you for your openness and transparency. We appreciate you, man. It's an honor to sit with you, man.
It is.
I respect what you do to the highest degree, and it motivates me in what I do.
I appreciate it. So do the best I can, bro.
There you go. You knocking them out the box, man.
Occasionally.
I
do that too.
You do that, man. Can I ask you about James Gordon?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I know I read about Batman, the next installment coming out. What can you tell us about that?
I don't know much.
Yeah.
I haven't read the script yet.
Okay.
Looking forward to getting back into it. Letting Matt Reeves, who wrote and directed the first one and this one, do his thing, and when the time comes, we'll be headed back to Gotham.
Are those things? Is there such thing as is one type of role you play more fun than the other, like being on the set of Batman, or is it all kind of in the same skew?
I try to choose wisely. I have lately. I've been having a lot of fun on the projects I've been working with lately. The first Batman was challenging, I have to say, because we were in the heart of the pandemic and living over in London, separated, couldn't bring anybody over. Living in a hotel. There was, 300-room hotel. I think there were 4 of us in the hotel. I walked past a room. There was a tray outside. I said, okay, there's a human there. But everything was shut down. I mean, not to complain, because we were working on this incredible project, but that isolation was tricky. And a lot of us were feeling that during the pandemic, but we're just going to work and going back to the hotel and nothing else, man. That was like, it was, we enjoyed what we were doing, but that was tricky. So when we get back to the next one, it'll be fun, even more fun, I think. But yeah, man, I mean, how can you not have fun? I mean, the first day we were filming, I'm standing there, and then my man walks in the Batman full thing. I'm like, that was the first time I'd seen him, in the full cape, cowl, whole thing. And I mean, they just took me back, that just took me back to my childhood. Man. How can you not have fun doing that, man? And, getting paid for it. I mean, and calling it work. Yeah, it was all good.
God bless you, man. Jeffrey Wright, man.
bless.
That's what we at right now, man. Yeah, come on, man. Give it up for Jeffrey Wright. See the movie, take your family, go home, debate it, discuss it, and then see it again.
Yes.
American Fiction, brother. It's always great to have you here.
Thank you, Sway.
Jeffrey Wright, man. Make sure y'all follow him, J. Free Wright. We coming right back. Shade 4-5.